Hi, this is Joyce Glass, the Write Coach, and today's tips from the Write Coach is about Scrivener. It is my favorite software to use for writing a book, and I know a lot of people know about Scrivener, but they get intimidated by it because when you first open it up, it can be a little overwhelming if you're not sure where to how to work it. But I'm here to show you. Now, I've got my book open, but I'm actually going to close it up so I can show you. It's backing it up. When you open up Scrivener, this is what you'll see. There's a tutorial, there's a manual, and there's some more video tutorials here. And typically, if you want to do a nonfiction book, obviously you'll start here with a nonfiction book. If you have a fiction book, then you'll want to start with the fiction book. And you see there's script writing, poetry, lyrics, and then some other miscellaneous templates here. Persuasive lecture, recipe collection, so if you want to do a cookbook, that kind of thing. My expertise obviously is in nonfiction, so we're going to go there and open up the book I just had opened up. And this is the beginning of my book. This is the page, obviously, with the cover on it. And you can drag and drop photos into Scrivener over here under research. You just drag and drop it in there, and see, here's the picture that I actually used. And then you create a page. So let me get my page. Let's do a new page. To create a new page, you simply right click, add new text, and that means a new page. And we'll just call this cover. You can title it over there, and hold on, let me go back, and then scroll up here, down here. Here's the picture, and just drag and drop it on there, and there it is. And then you can adjust the size of it or where you want it. So like I would want that in the center there, and I think that is all I can do with it. I don't think I can make it bigger, but there's the front cover, and that's how you put a picture in, and you can move the picture around a little bit. Pictures are a little tricky in Scrivener, I will give you that, but if you're just doing one picture on a page like this, it is actually simpler. So the next thing I wanted to show you in Scrivener is how to organize your project. So for me, what I had here is I have 12 weeks of content. You see there's week 1, there's week 6, there's week 7, there's week 8. And then each week I had an intro, and I had days 1 through 5 and discussion questions for each week. So to start a week, you just right click and you want to add a folder. And that creates a new chapter. So we're going to put new, I'm just going to call this new chapter when I can get down here to it. New chapter, all right? And then to create content in that chapter, you just right click, add text. Now let me show you something. I'm going to put new text 1 here. Okay, well, 1. So here's your chapter, and it creates what they call a corkboard. Now, if you do not like all my pretty and funky colors, you do not have to do that. I customized Scrivener to do that. And if we have time in a few minutes, I will show you later how I customized that. And I want to see how we are on time. Okay. So when you create that new chapter, then you end up with something like this. So here is, I did a page, a new document, or what they call new text, for each day of my writing. So there's day 1 through 5, the intro, and this is the title page here. So that's what this is. There's your title page, and then I did the intro, and then here's day 1, and day 2, 3, 4, 5, and discussion questions at the end. You can do links in here, obviously. So this created my chapter, and you can look at your chapter right here. And you notice this little thing that says final draft? Well, you go over here, and each one of these you can choose whether it's a to-do, a first draft, a revised draft, or a final draft. Or if it's a title page. See, that says title page. So then you know when you're working on a project, and this was a 12-week project, then I can look and see where I am each week. I can see where I'm at for each day of the week. Did I need to edit it? And I could put notes on here. I could put notes over here about this date. And you see I've got words. I was keeping up with word count each day. And I was trying to keep each of these in between 500 to the max, 1,000 words. And some days I did better than others. And then some days, like this right here, this needs to be 2 days worth. And so I cut one of the days into 2 days of content. So I just made it continuing on. So you can look at that. Let's see here. Well, let's go to day 3, week 1. Okay. So you click over here. Oops, sorry. You click over here, and that's the other beautiful thing about Scrivener. You do not have to scroll for eternity to get to the page that you want to get to. You have essentially your table of contents over here on the left, and you can choose which day you want to look at. So if I wanted to look at day 3. So see, here's falling into the pit, caught, falling into the pit, confessions, and consequence. So that day was one day that I broke down into 2 days to make the content shorter because it was too long for one day. And then at the end of each week, I did an interview with somebody. So this is an interview at the end of each week, or I share a story about someone. So what you do then is you have each chapter, to add text again, is you just right click, add new text. And so we're going to put new text 2. So you may want to break your content up into different text, or your whole chapter you may put into one of these documents. I call it the new text a document. All right. So the folder represents a chapter. The text document represents the content that will be in that chapter. And like I showed you here, you will need your title page. You will need your introduction if you're going to do an introduction to your chapter. Or, at this point, you could start the chapter content depending upon how your book is set up. This was a devotional. That's why it's set up like this. And let's see, the next thing I wanted to show you. Oh, you can move things around. So say I wanted this content on day 4 to really be on day 2. Well, you just drag it and move it to day 2. And then I would rename it day 2 if I wanted to rename it at that point. The other thing that's how it's in line with that, so it makes it a part of that. If I wanted it to fall under there, then I move it over and I can make it a sub document. See how it then falls under this as a sub document. So say you had something that you wanted to talk about, a general topic, but then there was specific topics you wanted to talk about underneath there. You could set it up that way. Now when it's viewed as an ebook or a PDF, it will just show as continuous content. It won't show as a subcategory of that day. It will just show as continuous content, and you may have it titled differently. Now I'm going to move that back down where it belongs, right there. And I don't know if you can see that on my screen, but there's that little green line right in there. That's how I know I'm putting it in the right place. That could be hard to see on the video, I'm not sure, but because it's underneath that. But when you drag and drop, there's this little line, and it lets you know where you're going to drop it. So I don't know if you can see that right there, that little circle and green line, and that shows you where it's going. So you know you're putting it in the right place. And I showed you the corkboard. That is one of my favorite features because you can see a lot right here, and you can put notes here. if you are, depending upon what you're doing, this can help you organize your information too as you are writing the book. You may not be sure how you want your information to be in order, and you can sit here and actually rearrange these right here. So then it would rearrange it, and you could see if you wanted it in a different order like that. But that, now if you notice, that did not change the order over here. It just changed the order on the corkboard. You would have to drag and drop over here if you wanted to actually physically move that information around. Color coding, again, like I said, is optional. Let me show you what is over here. This is where you can create labels, and some of these are already in here, and then some of them I added, like, I can't remember if I added, I think I added the to-do section, I can't remember. But what is great about that is then, like up here, I will show you where I had a to-do. This was my to-do list for my for the book, and then I may have had some down in here, and then here's my writing plan that I had created, so that we would know how to do that. That was essentially my writing plan, is my outline. And let's see. Oh, so you can, the way you can know what you're working on, and you'll see the color too is different. And that's what makes these the color, and that's what makes this the color, and you can choose it. It doesn't have to show up that color. I personally love color coding. Some people do not. You can, all of this is, you're able to customize in the program the colors you want in the different places. And let's see, so, you know, it gives it the green, the blue, the red, and you can change this. So you can hit this and hit edit, and this is where you can go in and I can change the color, or I can change the text. So if I wanted to change the color, see, project properties, status. I forgot where I changed the color. Oh, there, you just double tap on it, and or double click. I have a trackpad, so I double tap. And this is where you can change the color, so you can customize the color of all of those there, whatever you prefer. And like, again, I said, that color will come over here if you want it to, but there's a way you can turn it on and off if you do not want color over here. I know some people do not prefer all the colors like I do. So let's go back to the last thing I wanted to share with you was the importance of making sure you back Scrivener up to Dropbox. I have heard of so many people losing their entire manuscript because of a computer crashing or a computer being stolen, and everything they had saved was on there. And then you go, well, I have a backup, you know, at my house. Well, that's great. Are you backing up every time you use it? And if you're not, what if there was a house fire? God forbid, I hope there's not. Then the backup could be burned up in the house fire as well. So an outside source, Dropbox, Carbonite, whatever one that makes you feel comfortable, but something, a cloud service of some sort. So all that you have to do, if your computer dies or stolen, when you get a new one, then all you have to do is open up and install Scrivener and install Dropbox, and it will connect back up, and you connect Dropbox back to Scrivener, and you can open those files right back up, and you have not lost anything. This is huge, huge, huge. I cannot say it enough. If you do not want to lose your work, it is very important. Also, the Scrivener has an iPad where you can sync it, an iPad app now, and you can sync Scrivener to your iPad, and it looks very similar to the setup. It's a little bit different, but not much, and it works great. They just came out with the iPad app this year. I was so excited because before you had to use a third-party service to sync with it, and sometimes it did funky things and it didn't layout. The layout was completely different, so it was harder to find things. You're harder to find your content. So I am very excited that they decided to do the iPad app. So there is an iPad app that you can sync it, which is another thing that I love, because I use my iPad as, like most people use a laptop. I take it everywhere I go when I'm on trips or whatever, and it's super helpful. So then once you get your content laid out, your book is ready to roll, and you want to say you want to put it into an ebook. You go up here to compile. Let me explain compile in just a second here. Over here, in this little section, this general label section, it says include and compile, page break before, compile as is. I check all of those because I want to make sure it's in there. I want to make sure there's a page break. I don't want things jumbling up, the end of the chapter and week 1 being on the same page. I didn't want that. And then compile as is, I want it to look like I have put it in here. And so this, you check off all the pages. Like this page, where's a page like with my writing plan on it? This page is not checked because I do not want this in the document. So let's go over here and hit compile. And you see all the ones that I want checked are checked. And this is how you can double check if everything is checked correctly. And this is where you can put your cover in. Now, EPUB will create an iBook, and Mobi, M-O-B-I, does your Kindle book. And so I'm just going to do, and EPUB also does Nook, if I remember correctly. So if you want to create an EPUB and send it to somebody, you just hit compile, and you name it whatever you want to name it, put it wherever you want to put it. I'm going to throw this one in Dropbox. And hit export. And no, I do not want to replace that. Let me change the name. I'm going to put test, so it doesn't. And then it is, see it down here, the little blue line is exporting it right now. And in just a few seconds, you will have a document that is ready to read in iBooks. The Kindle, there's another little step that you have to do, but it's very simple. You just have to have something downloaded on your computer to do it. I can't remember if I have that on there because the last time I tried it, I think that's what it was asking for. But it gives you the instructions to do it whenever you do it. But again, it's the same thing. You hit compile, you make sure all your contents are correctly, and you come down here and you hit the Mobi Kindle version. And after this is done, I'll try it, see if I can get it to work. So then on a, I would usually put this in Dropbox, and I can open it up in Dropbox on my iPad, or I can send somebody the link and they can open it up, and it opens up in Safari. And you just press down to open an app and ask it to open up in iBooks. And it will pull the book open in iBooks. Same thing with Kindle. You just ask it to open an app, and I think it may even give you the option to open in Kindle or iBooks because it'll recognize the format. And then you just tell it to open it up in the app Kindle. So that is typically how I do it, is put it in a Dropbox link and then open that link up on my iPad, which takes it out, usually takes it out to Safari. And in Safari, then it gives you the option to download it as a Kindle or an iBook. All right, let me see if I can compile as a Kindle. So we're going to go here. See, we got all our contents the same. And this is how you can test if your Kindle or your, see, I got to install something. And so I'm not going to do that right now. But it will let you, when you do that, then it will let me create the Kindle. So I can't do that at the moment, but it's the same steps. You just hit compile, you choose the Kindle like I just did the ebook, and then if you have that generator thing on there, then you hit compile and name it, and there it is. So I think I can show you on here where it went. So there it is, the test version, and it's going to open up. Actually, well, because I'm on a Mac, it opened automatically up in the computer. So then you can see here, there's my cover page, there's my title page for the entire book. You can go over here to my listing. So when you've got everything broken out like that, so I can go to, there's the title page for week 1, and there's the intro page. Then I can go to the title page for week 2. And you see here, here's where I added that stuff, and I didn't take it out, where I added those 2 things. So that is what happens when you do silly stuff like that. But this is what's great, is then you can go through and you can look at it and you can see how it looks in the iBooks. And what I usually would do is pull it up in iBooks so that I could see, and in the Kindle, how it's going to look. Now, just a word to the wise, I do not have my book in iBooks. I have iBooks where I can give it to people to download. But you will not find my book in the iBook store, because I have Amazon links in my book. And I had heard if you had Amazon links, iBooks will not let you put it on there. So I never even tried. So just a word to the wise, if you do not have Amazon links in your book, then you are more than welcome to put your book on iBooks, as well as, Barnes & Noble or Amazon. So I just have stayed solely on Amazon for simplicity's sake. I did not want to go back through and change all of my Amazon links. And usually what my Amazon links are links to other books that I suggest. So that's why there's a issue with that. So just so you know. All right. And I believe that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments, or if you're looking at this on my website, or if you're looking at this on Facebook, please leave a message in the comments if you have any questions, and I will see what I can do to help you. I hope you have a great day, and I hope this helps you get started with Scrivener. Thank you.